Good evening, everyone. In today's presentation, I'll be talking about remote workspace policies, and I'll just be giving you guys a clear-cut definition of what they entail. Just giving you guys a rundown of the best security measures to use to protect this, some of the workspace policies that are often violated, and I'm just going to give you guys a nice rundown of workspace policies. The importance of remote workspace policies. This has been very detrimental to our society over the past 2 years. With COVID-19 running rampant these past 2 years, many companies and corporations have shifted to remote work due to COVID. And in this presentation, I will discuss with you all the workspace policies, the principles, what principles tend to get attacked, and just the best way to safeguard them all. Um, remote remote workspace policies. Number one, communication. Um, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term that communication runs the nation. Communication is so vital. This is key, and this could very well be one of, if not the most important policy of all. Since going remote, many individuals do not have the chance to collaborate in person, which includes conversing at each other's desks, chatting in the break room, team meetings, and etc. The following communication protocols that could be used remotely that could help us, stay in contact and stay on one accord would be one-on-one check-ins, team meetings, which could include Zoom, Stack, and project management software. Next, clarifying expectations. Setting certain expectations will greatly help to deviate and just decrease and diffuse frustration, conflict, and confusion, that we're all going to feel amongst the team, because working from home is, it's a different type of monster. It's a different ball game. It's something that we're not used to. And the team leaders can set their expectations, regarding the communication, the scheduling, availability, performance, and feedback, as well as recognition, calendars for deadlines, workflows, and most importantly, the goals and just the overall mission of what needs to be accomplished. Next would be increasing the feedback loops. And this is yet another excellent remote workspace policy. Excuse me, this involves keeping balance amongst communication and schedules while working remotely. While working remotely. Working remotely can be very tedious. It can be very tedious, and just setting and establishing feedback culture within the team is very essential. Management should regularly implement feedback from remote staff. This will help to better understand the better methods in which can support the employees individually, and this can also identify areas of potential conflict, and this can also build up trust amongst relationships between upper management and the employees. Next is setting healthy boundaries. Now, this is key just in life in general. You never want to, what's the old phrase? All work and no play. You definitely want to keep a healthy balance. Working from home, it can cause a very thin line that can be crossed between personal life and work life. Remote employees, they work very long hours at the office, and this can cause burnout and extra stress. I work from home myself for 2 years, so I can definitely attest to this. Being a father, a husband, and trying to work and juggle everything, it can be quite tiring, quite tiresome. So you definitely want to, make sure you find that balance. The next section, this is going to be security failures within the remote workspace. In this section, we're going to talk about the security failures that can transpire and affect working, remote workspaces. And this will include the accessing of sensitive data through unsafe Wi-Fi networks, which is very dangerous. Using personal devices for work, ignoring basic physical security practices in public places, email scams, and just security controls being weaker, and cyber attacks on the remote working infrastructure, as well as multi-factor authen- authentication and password management. First, we're going to discuss accessing sensitive data through unsafe Wi-Fi networks. This type of security failure deals with employees connecting to their home wireless network and also accessing their corporate accounts using unsecured public Wi-Fi. If one was to engage in this, data could be sent, through encrypted methods and forms, which unfortunately would be intercepted and taken by the bad guys, and that's something that we definitely don't want to transpire. Next, using personal devices for work. This could include our personal laptops, tablets, iPads, things of that nature. There was a survey that was taken amongst 40% of employees, and these employees admitted that they actually transfer files between work and their personal computers when working from home. And, this is something that should greatly be avoided. Next, ignoring basic physical security practices in public places. This is a security failure that involves like actual physical security. It's very important when it comes to securing sensitive information and data. For example, an employee could be talking loudly on the phone while out in public, say they're at Starbucks or McDonald's or their favorite juice bar, and they could expose their laptop screen for a large crowd in which someone could possibly um, accrue some very sensitive information that could get out to the wrong hands. Using weak passwords. Now, this is a very common security failure. This affects so many large corporations, so many Fortune 500 companies to mom and pop establishments. We have a lot of safeguarding techniques that we can use to defer from that, which would be VPNs and firewalls. However, things happen, and employees, will attempt to protect their cyber livelihood by using very weak and bland passwords, and this will be just a playground for hackers and breachers. So we need to definitely make sure that we have a strong, efficient, and adequate password. Next, the practice of unencrypted file sharing. Encryption is so key. If we have data that's unencrypted, this could lead to client account information and files being attacked by third parties, and this is something that we definitely don't need. We definitely want to protect our private and precious data. Next is email scams. Now, we've all received those random emails, saying that we won this or we owe this payment on this, knowing that we don't have anything to do with that. And uh, this is something that involves phishing, in which a third party acts as an entity that's a legitimate source, and they fool um, individuals into giving up private information, you know, which could be horrible, but it can lead to identity fraud. So this is something that we definitely have to keep an eye on and protect ourselves. And just security controls as a whole are very weak. The weakening of security controls, it exceeds far behind firewalls and email policy client devices. They will go unprotected and exposed among compromised devices such as NAC, IDS, and NGFW. Also, the internal network security can be compromised as well. So, remote workers basically need to access their wired networks into one location and try to avoid, unsecured Wi-Fi connections and networks. Next, we have principles that will protect our remote workers. First one being reliable tools, which involves, good searching and indexing tools. The good solid, indexing tools that we can use that will greatly help to improve the security of the remote workplace. Next is equitable policies. This basically involves having clear and concise participation rules and guidelines, which involves the expectations and the etiquette for the remote workspace. Finally, we have responsive support. Now, this involves like our IT departments, and we would like them to deliver and to assist us in a timely manner and fashion, just as they would in the office. This can definitely help with protecting and safeguarding us and getting the jump on unsafe breaches that could affect us working from home. Intentional culture. This is very key. You we all want to be on the same key, but we also want to make sure everyone feels welcome and secure. And like our programs could have special and specific programs for cultural events for workers, and this could just make everyone feel like they're part of the team. And this is vital. Teamwork makes the dream work. Keeping track of the upcoming projects and tasks. Now, this is just key in life in general. It's just good to always have a schedule and to just be aware of what's coming up in the near future. So you won't be running around here with a chicken with his head cut off, and everything's in line and neat, and you're able to stay on top of things. Sharing calendars. This is just another extension of organization. Just keeping everything in order and in good terms. Next, I'll be talking about some workspace principles that tend to get violated a lot, and they involve social engineering, phishing, and malware infections. Social engineering, this is a type of attack that basically involves where a hacker, I spoke on this earlier, to do with phishing, in which you could receive an email or a message or get linked to a website that has a false premise and it sucks you in, and next thing your data is being hacked and compromised. Phishing, this happens quite often. This happens so often. It's actually one of the most common methods in which a person's credentials are actually stolen. So we have to safeguard ourselves and follow the proper protocol so we can safeguard and protect our information. And finally, malware infections. This involves ransomware attacks, our antivirus software. This is something that we really have to keep intact and keep up to date, and to make sure that third parties can hack the workplace and hack our network. So this is very key. This is very key. Hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to talking to you guys very soon. Be blessed.